mainstream, but we're kicking things off with a rematch of a Regional 3 Grand Final. Last time, Game 7. Last time, Gen.G laughed it away, but Ultimates are looking for revenge. Game 1 brought to you by Progressive.
And I'm always curious what type of pace of play we start off with here. It's the start of day 2, you know? Does people come out swinging? Do they want to settle in? You know, now that they've got some time on the stage, they hopefully got a good night's sleep. What type of pace do we get here off the rip?
That's what I want to see, how Gen.G are going to connect, right? Because they've been able to build that chemistry over the past year. And to put Ultimates, they've really figured out how to counter Ultimates in that last final. But was that just a good regional? Was that just a good weekend? And how do you translate that on LAN? Well, the Ultimates yesterday really looked disjointed. They were 3 weapons but needed to come together as an arsenal. And Retals setting up Cheese. The second touch, a little bit delayed as Gen.G get the move on.
It was a big opportunity for Retals to find the back of the net there. He just couldn't quite get it on target, and it's actually allowed Ultimates to break out of their own half. LJ with some room to operate as well. Nice little sidewall double. Retals cleans it up off the backboard. That's exactly what they're going to need out of him, as Cheese is now forced to buy a lot of time. Cost him all the boost in the tank, and nobody from the Ultimates challenging him. They just saw him pop up and said, do something. He was like, I guess I got to go to the floor. So the Ultimates just got their feet set early here, and they're stuck in at the midfield line now.
First killer with a touch to the corner to keep possession to set up Chronic. LJ keeps it to the side, back pass to first killer, tries to go up the wall. Now it's a heavier touch that Cheese gets a hand down on. And the ball scrambles as Ultimates just keep leading an offense that goes forward, and then Retals has to go for demos to relieve some of this pressure, and it's still being shot after shot. Nothing too powerful or lethal from the Ultimate side, but something is brewing, and that means they're also starting to take boosts from Gen.G. They're pretty boost starved. This defense may not be able to break out until a goal resets them.
Yeah, this is very much the poking and prodding we were talking about pre-game. The Ultimates just seeing what is available to them, and look at first killer looking on the back post. Are they going to be able to see it coming? He finds an accidental double tap. Chronic actually waits for his turn. He took a chance there, and I think Gen.G bit, expecting him to be right on this ball. You can see Cheese trying to figure out where he needs to go, and actually it was Retals. I didn't even see him coming from off screen. Just completely misses the touch, and Chronic says, thank you, I suppose. That's a nice whiff there, buddy.
The Ultimates were in the lab yesterday. Their chemistry is already firing so well, and that's kind of what led them to that loss to NRG. But Gen.G, now they had that field reset, they could have some boost to finally work with. They had an offense that looked deadly there for a second, but Gen.G need to break their way out as Retals has to take it up high. Now Chronic and LJ are just all over him. And it's Retals having to stretch and cause a lot of disruption, and Cheese can't really get involved.
Oh, and that's a beauty of a job from Chronic. Took it all the way up to the ceiling, conserved a lot of boost, and forced Gen.G all the way back onto their own half because he put a strong shot on target, keeping a lot of Gen.G's potential attack at bay just by forcing ball control and making them defend the net. It's not always about scoring, it's just about pushing the opposition back.
Little soft touch from first killer to disrupt the reset, and Cheese follows up, playing that much closer to Retals, the leader, and now a 1-1 series.
Great timing from Cheese on that 50 as well. When first killer tried to bring it down, first killer knew he was going to need an extra touch because they knew Retals was going for the interference play on the net as soon as he landed from his air dribble. And unfortunately, the Ultimate's not equal to the task. Magic Bear slightly missing that pass. It's picked off by LJ. Chronic's going to be looking for a bump, and he'll actually look for boost steals and turn to dust himself, as the Ultimate's probably going to have to take a second here.
Giving it to the side, first killer stole some boost, and Gen.G have to be careful. We're getting starved once more, but Ultimates will be on the retreat as Retals didn't get that follow-up. Now Gen.G have conceded possession, not able to 50 Chronic. Here he comes, dribbling over to the corner as Cheese has to 180. First killer gets the beat on Cheese and almost gets a beautiful pass to LJ. At least Cheese was front and center in the net. Here's the counterattack. Here's the speed to the corner. Chronic collides, and LJ beautiful 50 against Magic Bear. And Retals didn't want to take the direct shot, too awkward. Gen.G need to stabilize.
Gotta say, Cheese and Chronic are both having an excellent game 1 here. Cheese is looking smooth and controlled off the wall with great timing, and Chronic is doing an excellent job just forcing Gen.G to respect the approach and try and make things as difficult as possible. Both of them really trying to help their teammates find ways forward.
Chronic and Cheese will battle through the corner. And Ultimates aren't getting too pressured. They've been able to find good clears, and Chronic races down, is taking some boosts. And Ultimates patrol the midfield, wait for quality opportunities. That's what's important, as Cheese with the pinch down to keep the ball out of the net. As First Killer has a dribble, Reddles will cut him off as best as he can. Cheese waits downfield for a chance to get a long pass with 47 seconds left. The next goal just could define the Game 1 winner.
And Reddles definitely working hard on the defensive side. Chronic once again, just a strong tester shot on net, keeping Gen.G's defense honest, allowing them to push forward, collect midfield boosts. The Ultimates again with an excellent press here. LJ down for Chronic, and that time he comes up empty. That was the one he wanted. Chronic couldn't get a hold of it. And Magic Bear wisely will take his time out of his corner and actually find a great transition right through 2 attackers.
See Magic Bear just harassing. He had, what, like 4 average demos against Luminosity. Gen.G can really break down your structure, but can they break it down to a goal? As Magic Bear denied the backboard, sent to the midfield. Reddles steps up, has to be the captain of this ship, or they will sink. As Magic Bear almost tucked that one to bed. At 0 seconds, we could go to OT. Cheese still keeps it up as LJ still gonna go for the play, and down to the ground we go, and overtime for Game 1.
OT in Game 1, both teams probably at least accepting of the outcome. A nasty kickoff, though. It will slightly favor Gen.G, but not for long. The Ultimates do a great job managing the pace on transition. Slips through 1, slips through 2. Cheese gets a pop off his bar. Here comes Chronic. Can he reach this double? Down and to the right just a little bit outside the net. And a nice opportunity as that one also goes off the bar. Chronic, you've had such a Game 1, but unfortunately the shooting accuracy when it's got to be there just a smidge off.
Well, huge saves out of Cheese. Gen.G keep their heads above water after shot from Ultimates, but who will drown at the end. Now it's Ultimates finding themselves on the back foot. A big win from First Killer to the backboard. Magic Bear doesn't make a connection, but LJ strikes. Overtime for Ultimates.
Now, this is the power of being a player like First Killer. You know, Magic Bear sees First Killer get that touch up to the backboard, and you instinctively think, I gotta go up, I gotta go fight for it, because if I don't, First Killer's just gonna turn it into my net. And the thing about it, he has no idea First Killer can never reach it, so he tries to make a tough, clear
mistake that the defense from Gen.G did.
And it was very patient, you know, from the Ultimates there. They really were happy to say, look, someone clear the ball and make a big play to get us out of this offense, as Reddles makes a great stop off the initial kickoff. And I'm curious to see if the Ultimates continue that approach or if that was just how Game 1 played out. But I was very happy to see them kind of just camped out there at the midfield, collecting boost and saying, beat us if you can.
And kind of deja vu from the, what a save, wow. That grand final, Ultimates won the first game in an overtime at 15 seconds. And Gen.G, they go down in the series, but they sure know how to come back, as Reddles and Magic Bear had to slow this down, a touch to the side. First Killer helps him get into the air. LJ, awkward pass to Chronic, maybe wasn't expecting it, so Magic Bear will take the helm.
Oh, we got it.
Low, placed that well against Chronic.
I was amazed to see Magic Bear come up with that touch. It looked like he just completely flubbed the control, and Chronic just not able to find the 50, but he will do so here at the midfield line. First Killer with 0. Reddles not able to get out cleanly, as the second effort will get the job done and at least push it back to the midfield line. But Gen.G definitely looking for some extended pressure. That's in. Oh my days, my fault, LJ.
It's just like balancing plates against all the traffic.
Wow, what a shot from LJ. I mean, I thought for sure someone was just going to take that one away from him. He looked so flat, but you said it. Balancing plates is right. Just kept bobbing, popping, getting around 1, getting around 2, and all of a sudden in the back of the net.
Yeah, contact with player of the ball. It's just no one pushing LJ off, and so slow, so delicate, so patient, as you pointed out, as Ultimates start to hound the net of Gen.G. It's Reddles and Cheese trying to keep their resources close to the chest. Another big steal from LJ. Chronic can't stop it at the midfield, so Gen.G will race and surge to put on the press, and Chronic will not be stopped. LJ starts to clear the net. Cheese has to jump to avoid the bump, and what a touch from Cheese to keep that out.
0 boost as well. Look at the pass across the box. First Killer almost drills one into the net. Thought for sure they was going to get there. And I'm just waiting for First Killer to make his impact felt. Here's an opportunity. Look at Cheese so quick saying, no, dude, I've seen you do that enough times. I'm not going to let you just double tap it on my head.
Yeah, and you don't have to wait for playoff Cheese to activate. Like, Cheese is having already such a great series defensively. He's so critical. Gen.G still have to equalize and not able to steal boost from the ultimate side. Gen.G have to fall back to their half as Reddles gets it away from Chronic. First Killer's not going to let possession go easy as Reddles tries to assess the field, see where Magic Bear is.
Weird spot here for Gen.G. I mean, they had a decent push, and now you got to see how many pieces are they willing to bring forward here, because they've won a couple of good 50s at the midfield line, but it doesn't feel like they've really been willing to try and squeeze and press out of the middle to really put the pressure on the Ultimates. That's what they're going to need.
I need to find those rebounds, but Ultimates, they have such great support of each other. But a second touch to get away from Cheese with the anchor at the back. Reddles has been the spark plug to get them downfield, but how Gen.G blossom from there that's the question. As Reddles is bumping, using all the boosts to look for demos, as Cheese really has to put on the press.
So good.
And floats in front of the net, and Reddles will capitalize.
Look at Cheese just drive this through the corner. Huge 50, just cleanly through the second guy, find the bump on the third. You earned your assist there, Cheese. That was 1v3.
Cheese and Reddles are having a huge series. Magic Bear needs to be the bully on the field to be part of that equation. His Ultimate's that lead taken away. Gen.G, it doesn't have to take 1,000 rebounds to break through Ultimates. It just takes good teamwork. As First Killer hopes to connect there with Chronic. Magic Bear, good 50 to try and get this out. And Reddles with the follow-up. It goes to Cheese. LJ can't get a hand up in time.
Beauty of a pass from the sidewall. Magic Bear, solid clear off the contested touch from the Ultimates. And Reddles on a dime to Cheese and a bullet into the net. 141 kph. You don't see too many over 120. They smashed that one.
Yeah, Ultimates just got outraced there at the end, but LJ, he's had these good dribbles in the past, but Reddles more aware of it, ready at the back wall. First Killer escaping, Chronic there to support. His First Killer has a full boost and a reset to go the distance. Magic Bear with no connection. Cheese focuses on boost and will stop him just at the back wall. Chronic there in the air, the ground pinch down. Magic Bear stands in the net, and Gen.G keep it out.
You can see LJ trying to figure out how he needs to defend that out of the midfield, and the adjustment is, look, if we can't get there, we're going to try and make the bump on the defender to make it easy for the third man to rotate through. It's Cheese with a delay touch. Chronic forces into the floor. First Killer has gone deep back, and the Ultimate's time scramble now. Only 36 seconds or so. You don't have to really panic yet, but once we get to about 10-15, then they really got to hit the go button.
Ultimates are also in the high air a lot, and Cheese with barely anything left couldn't accomplish the double tap. Reynolds with a Devo and 2 boost steals does not slow down. Ultimates, Chronic crashes and burns to set Gen.G ablaze.
Yeah, you knew this touch was not good for Magic Bear. He's trying to get a hand on it, stop it from clearing it downfield, but as you can see, he's a split second late, and he ends up lifting it back towards his own net and forcing his teammate to make one of the most awkward approaches to try and make a save or a clear or something. Couldn't manage it, and the Ultimates find a surprise equalizer. That's a tough one to swallow if you're Gen.G right there.
And with time to spare, 10 seconds, Ultimates find the equalizer. First Killer with a full tank with a reset under the ball to the backboard.
Nice.
Reynolds with a touch in front of the net, and Chronic couldn't dunk it into his own net. We enter the second overtime.
Grade A defense from Reddles there. It takes some nerves to stare down First Killer coming at you with an air dribble, and Reddles made it look easy. Just challenge the ball, pop it to the ground, let's play OT.
Ultimates, they like these air dribbles across from downtown. Magic Bear, solid touches too on the defense, not letting anything go by easy. Chronic with the drop down. Cheese protects the goalpost as First Killer sets up LJ. Reddles disrupts. Gen.G very much stuck. And now we're getting boost starved if they're not careful. First killer has nothing. Chronic takes over. That gives some space for Magic Bear to carve through the right side. Gen.G begin the counterattack as first killer also is trying to knock this one away. LJ tries to find the opposite side of the field, and Cheese finds his moment to keep on the press. Reddles to Magic Bear. Chronic just tries to break it up, and its ultimate's now behind.
You're right, Gen.G got a pretty firm grip on the middle of the pitch right now. A couple of boost steals, and they're continuing to take away those corner boosts from the ultimates. It's going to take a good transition from somebody to break the ultimates out of this one. Chronic doing his best and not quite enough. Gen.G still pressing.
Just need a good first touch. It's just a hard clear from first killer. Magic Bear not expecting it. At least the second touch to get down to Reddles. And just being able to out-rotate LJ has been big. Chronic takes over. First man up. Bounce back. LJ nowhere to be seen. This is just the ultimates field reset that they needed. Being able to rotate back in time before Gen.G punish them is important.
Big whiff there from Cheese on that challenge. He's been pretty solid so far, but finally one got away. Pass back across from Reddles, looking top right side and not quite enough, but Ultimates definitely having to play some solid defense to keep Gen.G at bay here in OT. Ultimates have found a few moments to breathe, but really waiting to apply the pressure. Showing you know how to challenge the ball, and now we're gonna really squeeze you. That's what I want to see.
For Magic Bear to have his impact felt at the end, that was everything. When he was a lot quieter, at least everything that he was doing off ball wasn't always seen. But it's Gen.G that go the distance, and they don't have to do a massive comeback this time, not like the Regional 3 Grand Final. As Ultimates really got hit just in the rotations too.
First killer?
Gen.G can have counterattacks that are quite swift. And speaking of that, here comes Gen.G and Reddles with a few 50s he has to face. That pops out all the way to the orange half.
Oh, that boost timing just did not quite spawn for him. He was hoping it would pick up right before he went up the wall with it. The Ultimates, unfortunately, just going to sit back on their laurels here at the midfield. Reddles will immediately say, look, that's a little too slow, a little too passive. Going to make your life more difficult than you'd like it to be here in the midfield.
Well, this game going to overtime too. These two teams are so neck and neck, but that's awkward in front of the net. Chronic doesn't get to beat Reddles and Cheese. Cross and keep it out. Now the shots keep coming in. Ultimates pounding the net. First killer, a big win from Reddles to still somehow keep this a 0-0 game, and you're not out of the woods yet. Ultimates are still slapping the ball around, and Cheese knows he has to get on it quick for a clear.
Yeah, LJ just didn't even touch that ball as he went for it. Now he's trying to get shifty on the ground and can't quite figure that out. I'm still waiting for the LJ impact to be felt. I'm waiting for those cross map air dribbles out of the midfield. That's really, it's really the distance where he's dangerous from. You take him about 3/4, it seems to be a little bit too much for him to really flex the muscles. But you get LJ attacking right out of that midfield line, give him half the field to work with, and that's where he gets really dangerous. First killer's the guy I want taking it from, his own half like this. I want LJ to be coming at him from a little bit closer.
I think Ultimates will have to figure out how to shut down Reddles, who seems to be commanding a lot of these charges and also protecting the backboard as Chronic with the pop-up towards the ceiling, buying time for Ultimates to get in position for an offense. Finally, a midfield is broken through there by Reddles, trying to disrupt LJ to make Gen.G uncomfortable. But you need to step up, and Cheese is choosing these approaches really carefully and almost hesitating, not wanting to dive at every ball like he did at the last game. And this got dangerous towards the blue net.
That was very risky on that clear. He went right across the nose of a Gen.G player in front of his own net. That was taking a big risk, but it paid off. Still 0-0. And Ultimates looking for a grip at the midfield line. First killer forced to delay right to LJ. What can you do?
Getting this way, that's for sure, but you have all of Ultimates sending it down with Reddles having to back pass it, but it's now Chronic and friends going forward again. First killer up in the air. That's what he likes to do. The backboard, though, protected once again, and they're just really testing how sturdy Reddles is on that back line, and Ultimates will have to find another way to score against them.
Solid enough clear from LJ, but nobody there to pick it up for the Ultimates. Cheese takes a decent 50. All right, Magic Bear, flex the muscles. You got a little bit of room here. Look how early First Killer gets up. Says, you don't get to do anything you want for free, as Chronic will break up the Retals approach, but they steal some boost, and this is kind of starting to look reminiscent of how that OT in Game 2 looked. Gen.G earn a little bit of space, and then they're unwilling to let it go.
Yeah, Gen.G very much slowing down, or at least their confidence isn't as inflated as before. How about now with a demo response? Ultimates on the back foot. A lot of disruption from Chronic. And Magic Bear sends it down. Ultimates demoed off their offense as First Killer hopes to catch them rotating in. But no cigar. Midfield scramble, minute to go, and no one has scored.
Solid flick from First Killer. Little bit of operating room. Cheese all alone on the back end. And look at the command. He just went straight up. He's like, I'm not going forward. I'm not pressing with anybody. I'm going to make ultimates come to me. Nobody comes to me. I'm holding the ball. Good move, Cheese. Play from possession.
Chronic playing for the clear too, but it's ultimately spat back, and Reynolds was downfield to take a shot. And Ultimates get there just in time. A demo though. And that means the ball floating towards Chronic and LJ as Reynolds is just ready to bulldoze them into the net. Magic Bear keeps it in, and Cheese adds to the sandwich, and Ultimates still group up the 2v2 as Ultimates stabilize, stacking with each other, good support. And now Gen.G are just throwing every 50 their way. They want to build that pressure. Reynolds is taking boost. Chronic has a good first touch, gets under it. LJ below, and Magic Bear intercepts the pass.
Not the best hit from Magic Bear, though. First Killer would pick it off and will just drop it to the floor. So full reset here, and honestly, a bit of a stalemate. Nobody really able to make anything happen. Welcome to the 0-0 OT Playmakers ball game. These are often decided by one person just deciding they're going to hit a worldie.
Yeah, Gen.G definitely trying to challenge a lot more as LJ with the pass to Chronic, not on target. First Killer up, Reynolds not there to beat him this time. It's just a lot of stifling from the Gen.G defense, but can they really get themselves out of dodge? Ultimates are fighting with everything they have, something with nothing up their sleeve. And First Killer just keeps Gen.G's backs against the wall. A backboard, LJ fakes second touch, heads back, and Ultimates, they gotta keep this going, and it's Chronic that gets beat by Reynolds, and a decent clear.
Good
Magic
block.
Bear downfield, and Gen.G can't make anything out of that.
Good block, though, for Magic Bear to keep them in the mix, but LJ steals the ball back. Nice flip. Does he find a bump? He was aiming for Reynolds, but Reynolds up early, not willing to let that play develop any further. LJ double tap, back post. No, that was it. Couldn't squeeze it in.
A lot more backboard available for Ultimates. They may want to keep trying that again and again. Just has to actually hit the net, and Reynolds makes a save. LJ with the follow-up.
Impact save or shot or assist or whatever, but that's
Yeah,
the way
I'm
the
used to
cookie
Magic
crumbles.
Bear. I'm used to Magic Bear being the guy with 6 demos too. Like the guy that having all the shots. That's what I mean. Like we got to see the bear out, and I'm excited.
Let him eat.
Yeah, let the bear eat. But LJ too is having loud series at that big game winner. Did take a 0-0 overtime to be broken though, as this series could easily go to Champions Field once again, just like it did in that final. So it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for Ultimates to get that done.
Reynolds with a little bit of room here in the midfield. Magic Bear pressing the net, finding a bump on First Killer. Cheese, this is definitely just taking the best 50 he can find. And pressing the net, looking for that demo on LJ. He will bob and weave his way out. Does he pass? Yes, right to a pre-jumping Chronic, and they drill the net. Gen.G going to be frustrated to allow that transition.
And to set up Chronic with that much speed, Chronic is always in this midfield, ready to push up, drive up towards the net, towards the box, and receiving any pass. And it's been difficult to set him up always for success, or at least an easy shot. And now this one with speed, and it's lightning in a bottle against Gen.G. We're not able to slow that down. Usually it's more of a fight in the midfield, and even through the demo, the fire and the flames, Ultimates hoping to add to the tally. And what's deadly about that offensive Ultimates, it usually carries a lot more shots, but Gen.G are firing back.
That smoke cloud right in front of the net, though, with those demos coming in, never fun to deal with. And Gen.G doing a good job just to keep the deficit to 1. right there off that chance. Magic Bear aiming back post, first killer all over it. Great defending.
First killer has a lot less boost to work with than usual, so he's gonna go take everything out of Gen.G, and that's how Ultimates have been able to lead what minute-long offenses at times and easily getting to double-digit shots. But it's quality that we look for. So now first killer has to get under this ball, a reset to work with, dodges the one challenge,
and the
deposits
block.
this,
Oh.
and defenders floundering, and LJ can't get the finish.
That's what I mean when first killer's real good full court. You just see him keep generating height, finds a bump, gets the drop pass into the middle of the box, and thankfully Gen.G able to rally and find a clear, but you get another approach like that, he might just turn it in on you. Here's the pass to LJ, and that one's kicked out.
Wow, Gen.G's barely getting there in time. Gen.G have been able to ward away very dangerous offenses out of Ultimates. And they let the one slip by, but it was such a fast shot, fast pass too out of Ultimates. Gen.G really having to pick up the pace. Now in full disruption mode, as running out of boost is Reddles. Magic Bear takes over. LJ bumps him off the ball.
Slow play from first killer, letting Chronic try his hand here with a full tank. Ultimate's definitely more than happy to try and go into clock management mode, even only up 1-0. Goals have come at a fairly decent premium here in this particular series, so no reason to really press harder than you need to. LJ's really trying to go for the world there. First killer pops one off, Cheese in an awkward spot, and that will be met by Chronic in the middle of the box. Gen.G just treading water at the moment defensively.
Yeah, speaking of water, it just feels like Chronic is always just searching on like a shark. And you just gotta have really perfect touches on defense or Chronic will punish it every single time. Reynolds doesn't make contact. Magic Bear calls him off the ceiling to reset, and she's at the right side, ready to overwhelm first killer who breaks through both. It has the 1v1 at the back. Good time being bought from Gen.G.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great job from first killer as well to break the Ultimates out of what was going to be a scary defensive stand. I mean, Gen.G had a couple of good corner boost steals right there, and that's normally where they've been able to start to get a grip on the position and start to apply some extra pressure, and first killer immediately breaking out of that. Great breath of fresh air at a great time as Cheese just forced to poke that ball forward with zero boost, and Gen.G's just going to be looking for any advantage. Reddles with zero passes to Magic Bear, low and left and kicked aside. Nice save again from the Ultimates.
Good 2v2. Gen.G also keeping the midfield, and LJ and Chronic add to that equation. And Ultimates haven't been able to last and maintain an offense, one that we're used to, one that just crazy to keep Gen.G's backs against the wall. They can't boost steal, and Gen.G had like almost 10 demos last game, so Ultimates don't want to overstay their welcome as Reddles to Magic Bear to Cheese. The Triforce bar down, slips it at the end to tie.
Ooh, gotta give a tip of the cap here to Cheese on this shot. Look how many defenders in the net. 1, 2, 3. Cheese says, yeah, right there's good. And not an easy shot to make when you know you've got a lot of bodies to get through. He put that one to a spot.
This series is stressing me out, like the ties are being found at the last, 10 to 30 seconds, if not no goals at all, if you think about last game. Still match point for Ultimates. And they can go 2-1 in Swiss. They have a good fire back in this last run. It's LJ and first killer up, all three being sent. Ultimates looking awkward, falling back. Cheese carves his path, red carpet down, denied from first killer. Setup from Gen.G gone. LJ with the reset. Magic Bear with the disruption. Chronic up high, got two jumping, but on the ground, yet another overtime.
Chronic's got to start to be getting real frustrated just not being able to put those one on frame. I mean, I know it's going to be a difficult shot all the time, but man, just kicking it off the bar and not even a chance to win it there feels pretty bad.
Every single game going to overtime. This is deserving of a champion's field, but a great series nonetheless. This first killer almost could have cut the angle as Magic Bear hopes to pick up the speed.
Proven they can hang. Ultimates have shown that they don't quite have the juice at the moment to make it easy for themselves.
Raw Greg and Reddles trying to keep the team mentally stable for an important game 5. Forced there by Gen.G. Ultimates who just couldn't keep a lead every single game going into overtime. Here's a carry there, disrupted by Chronic. Into Magic Bear, feeling good with Cheese in the net. This could all decide who could be one step closer to playoffs. Everything matters, especially egos too. Gen.G want to prove it wasn't just a fluke. They got to prove that they're the better team all along.
Pass to Reynolds, double tap chance, and Chronic. That's a gorgeous clear.
This is Ultimates building up. LJ goes for the 50. Cheese is so good at dodging those, but Magic Bear with a long pass and first killer ready for it this time. Ultimates may just keep that safer third back there in case of a counterattack of Gen.G, which has really killed them in the past. LJ lurks, trying to play that fake against Magic Bear, and they're going to decide to just keep possession as Ultimates want to keep the rally going, but the Gen.G demos is something to worry about.
You're right, the Gen.G demos is exactly what Ultimates is having to worry about. They're doing a great job when they have to rotate out of that Ultimates half, keeping tabs on who is in the middle, ready to receive the pass. They've always got one guy looking for them, harrying them, not letting that pickup be easy if that pass comes out. It's great awareness on defense.
Reddles 50 just in time. Recovery. Magic Bear goes downfield, but how easy are these transitions going to be for Gen.G? She's already bumping and demoing the net. Look at the chaos it's caused for Ultimates, and she still can't get the gap. LJ recovers in time.
And first killer, just a punt there to reset things a little bit. Magic Bear and Chronic, a neutral 50. Nobody really able to come up with possession. First killer trying his best. It's going to be an expensive in terms of boost cost, though, transition. LJ will steal the corner, try and equalize. Go to work, big dog. Flip reset, top right corner.
What a series from LJ. Yes, he missed on saving that game-winning goal out of Gen.G, but what a reset. The mind games against Magic Bear, against the two defenders in net and Ultimates. We're getting kind of used to them having leads, but this early, I think, is a good statement to make. Keeping it is a whole other discussion.
And hopefully LJ is finally, cracked open that Gen.G defense for the first time, and that hopefully gets the engine turned over for him, and you start to see the threat generation ramp up and really put the pressure on Gen.G here in this final back half of Game 5. He's trying to do just that, wants an air dribble bump, really trying to try Gen.G in a knot.
Ultimates, LJ with a full tank and has to bring the ball down low to just delay or get away from the challenge. Just Chronic takes over. And that's the position you're in. Chronic, what a shot from first killer. And the post will not be on his side this time. But round 2, as Ultimates add on to the pain of now Gen.G, who get a chance to break out of their own half. But as soon as you try to get a hand and a good stable control of the ball, Ultimates just stuff you.
And a good stable hand and steadying force in the coach spot is a huge value right now. It keeps you locked in. You don't get antsy being down by 1 as the clock continues to tick, and Magic Bear delivers a beauty. Slips by Chronic, up off the ceiling in smooth transition. Just put it on target with pace, make the stop, and Ultimate's a step too late.
And just not having the boost to climb up there either. Gen.G really taking to the skies and always have a response cooked up. A lead that never feels assured. Not when you're up against Gen.G. They've just always been in your shadow. And LJ up high, Chronic down low. LJ has to play it himself. The dribble, the musty towards the backboard. Magic Bear can't deny it. First killer. Buries him 6 feet under.
Yeah, look at the guy on the backboard. Magic Bear's like, this could go anywhere. And LJ, he knew that could be on target. He knew he could be passing it off the wall. Magic Bear unable to fit the pieces of the puzzle together. It goes right over Magic Bear's head, and first killer all too happy to have a tap in.
Gen.G got to lock in and shake off the nerves. Ultimates got to finish what they started. They got to prove that that final was a fluke and they were the champions all along, but it's the first killer now sending it away from Magic Bear and Reddles, who are pushing up downfield.
Oh, nice touch.
And Gen.G with a minute. can't get up into the air. They're low on boost. They got to reset, and this is the time for Ultimates to get insurance.
And a minute left on the clock, you know, you're actually going to get 4, maybe even 5 looks at the net here, or at least chances to get on the attack. So Gen.G, not too bad of a spot, obviously. Trying to force one here, but you don't want to be too aggressive just yet.
LJ, some boost to work with, but can't get under the ball enough in midfield. It's been well fought for from Gen.G. Magic Bear makes contact with first killer and was hoping Cheese would 180 as Gen.G has to react. And now it's chaos as Riddles had to stop the open net there from Ultimates, ready to run it down, and Magic Bear tries to escort the ball to safety.
All right, time to get boost to get your feet set if you're Gen.G here. Clock down to 15. We all are going to need boost for 0 seconds if we want to find success, and LJ's doing his best to not even let that happen.
Full disruption mode. Full tank for Magic Bear. Hopes to connect with Riddles one last time, but Ultimates, they stack and they fortify. First killer hopes to put the ball on the ground one last time, and Cheese cannot stretch, and Ultimates take game 5.
Well, it took till game...